Alright, what you see here is a Casablanca stealth ceiling fan. This one I got off of Facebook Marketplace last year, right around it, like right before the lockdown started of the pandemic. So it's been, yeah, it was back in February. So yeah, this fan is the first stealth that I've got in the collection. Well, I did test the black one first, one because that one was comfort touch, so I figured it'd be easier to test. And also, I just didn't know how to wire up the IntelliTouch down here at the time. This one's a little bit newer than the black one, but it's not actually an older stealth. This one is from January 16th, 1998, and it is the 347th fan made that day. Now, what's kind of interesting is that even though the stealth's been around for a while and brushed nickel ones aren't hard to find at all, they actually are pretty common. The fact that this one was sold in the 90s, without that this one's from the 90s and it's in brushed nickel is kind of uncommon because back then brushed nickel wasn't really selling too well like it did later on. So this one's kind of it's an earlier brushed nickel one, so in a sense it's kind of a harder one to find. More so it's harder to find one that's from the 90s versus finding one from the 2000s. But yeah, it's hooked up to the IntelliTouch control right here, W32. And yeah, the blade match is honestly got a bit scratched up. But yeah, it came exactly the way you see it here. I am gonna be trying it with some different blades as well. Definitely the Rosa ones and some other ones that I got. But yeah, it's actually right in the city that I worked at, and well, where the Savers was the one I worked at before I found a job at the high school I used to go to. Several was asking a pretty decent price for it. Talking him down a little bit lower, and he actually even delivered. So I didn't want to push my luck by asking him to go even lower. But yeah, he said he wanted to keep the fan since his wife wanted a light in the living room instead. Yeah, it's a fan I've been meaning to test for a while now. I'm finally glad I've gotten around to testing it. And there's a tag on the side. Something with the older ones is they would have the tag right over here, like on the bottom, not on the top. Yeah. But yeah, for a fan that's 20 years old, like you wouldn't think there's a 20-year-old fan right here. Just going to show you how impactful this fan has become in the fan industry. I mean, they still sell it in brushed nickel to this day, although I don't think they sell them with gloss black blades anymore. Although I could be mistaken. And this one does use an XLP, if I'm not mistaken, since it's from 1998. So, yeah, the performance on this one's probably going to be a bit less than the black one that I have. So, yeah. But, yeah, this definitely, the Casablanca itself was introduced back in 1991, where they originally came with Comfort Touch, and then later on they either had the option to be with Comfort Touch or IntelliTouch, and then they added other options down the road like Advan Touch and I think Adapt Touch, if I'm not mistaken, or Versa Touch. But yeah, it's definitely a really nice fan. It's definitely a fan I consider installing somewhere, especially with the gloss black blade. I feel like that's a really nice combination for it. But yeah, let me go ahead and turn on the light. And then afterwards I'll show it on demo mode. Definitely lights up the space pretty well. Shut off the lighting around. Yeah, it's definitely not bad lighting. It's obviously it can be a bit better, but it's only one bulb in there. It's a halogen bulb. Alright, now I'm going to go ahead and put it on demo mode. Alright. Yeah, definitely, it's pretty cool setting though, I think, with the Casablanca fans with the demo mode. And of course, the flywheel on this one's kind of bent, I guess, or wobbly. It's not too uncommon to find stealth fans like that. Alright. Alright, now to start off on speed 1. I'm gonna stop it. So that way, get it start. Yeah, speed 1's more so of a aesthetic load, not so much to really move air around us, more so for looks. I mean, not to say that it doesn't move any air. Definitely, you can feel just a slight breeze from underneath it. But yeah, it's definitely a very nice fan. These fans came out in 1991, like I was saying, and since then they've been around for 30 years now, as of this year. And really just go to show that how it was really ahead of its time back then in terms of design. That and the Venus. But yeah. Although the Venus is not around anymore, well, it's not being sold anymore. This one itself is still being sold. And the Stealth definitely did influence a lot of other fan companies to copy it. They are based their design on contemporary fans off of the Stealth. It's definitely a timeless design that has really aged well for how old the design is. Alright, now to show off the light. Honestly, this fan would even look really nice in my living room in this apartment. But I'd rather have a black fan of rosewood. The other stuff, the black one of the comfort touch, that one I'd rather put in there versus this one, but I'd rather save that for when I get my own place. Let's go with where we are now. We're pretty close to the ocean, and I'd rather not have the humidity from like being close to the ocean cause the waves to warp a lot and such. Not like a beach house or anything, just it's somewhat close to the ocean and such. But yeah, they still make them in brushed nickel and white. Those are like the only two finishes I can think of from the '90s that they still sell them in. They did have them in brass, champagne, which is a finish I'd love to find one of these in. And I don't think they sell them in matte black anymore. Um, I know they sell them like in a finish that's similar to black, but it's like a rustic look with. It looks like it's like a black looking one with washed oak blades. That's the best way I could describe it. I just forget what the finish on that one is called. Yeah, let me go ahead and move it up to speed 2. And one thing I will say is that I do prefer the installation on a shade on the newer ones versus this one. That's because it kind of locks into place better and isn't so loose like this one is. But yeah, there's a ton of places I can see these installed in. Kitchens, living rooms, and bedrooms. Um, Restaurants, movie theaters. Yeah, on this speed, it's definitely pushing a bit more air. It's not that much of a difference, in all honesty, between speed 1 and speed 2, but this one, the low speed to it is more effective, and not just for looks. I also forgot to mention it's actually my first IntelliTouch fan I'm testing down here. So I figured I'd start off with one of the ones I've been wanting to test the most, which is this one. Alright, now I'll go ahead and show up the light. Yeah, I definitely really do like this combination. Definitely would love to definitely want to try it out with the rosewood blades, some wood blades of some sort. I'm not sure how it would look with white blades. Maybe I could try that down the road. know how to move it up to speed 3. But yeah, in a sense, this is actually like the second version of the Stealth in terms of like the change to it. For that being, it has an XLP motor. And the later ones, they changed the way that the light would mount to it and such. And they had different control options. But yeah, no, thankfully this one doesn't have a scraping issue, which is something that is not extremely common, but it can happen with Stealth, which is because of the halogen bulb being so hot. It'll cause the flywheel to get dried out and such, and it'll cause it to sink down and such due to the weight of the blades, and then it'll cause it to scrape. It isn't something that can be fixed, but unfortunately, it is an issue that can happen. Right, let me show up the light. Yeah, sorry if there's a lot of cuts in this video. The boiler keeps going off because it is pretty cold outside today. So instead of me restarting the video just to get a whole take of it not going off, it's just very unlikely. So, and with this fan being a 6-speed fan, that's the other reason why. I'd rather not just restart the whole thing. Alright, I'm gonna shut off the light and move it up to speed 4. Yeah, it definitely moves quite a bit more around speed 4. Yeah. But yeah, these are like one of the first Casablanca fans I remember from when I was a kid. Yes, I did see these in the 2001 brochure that my grandmother got for me. No clue what happened to it, but I do have another one now. Now show up the light. I'm gonna try to see if I can speed it up just because of how often the they keep going off, I'll be here all day trying to get a video done of it. And I'm also not trying to make the video super long too. Honestly, it would have been a bit better to film this when it was warmer out, but I just been wanting to film this one for such a long time now. I was gonna wait any longer. All right, now to move it up to speed 5. Oh. What's going on now? As you guys can tell, I'm not the most experienced with IntelliTouch, so do bear with me for a bit. All right, near speed 5. Like, I know how to use the controls this. How do I say it? The buttons on these ones are a little bit trickier to kind of push versus the ones that you'd use like on the older ones and such. Okay, to like push them in a bit and such. But I mean, I do remember the seller told me that he actually really liked the fan. He actually really wished that his wife would have let him keep it in the living room. Just, I don't know. I guess they just came to an agreement. But I mean, it also came with the control too, which is the one I'm using for it. Probably gonna be the one I use for the other IntelliTouch fans that are newer-ish. I'm testing that way. I know that I have a good one that I'm using. Since I haven't tried out all the other ones that I have and such, so I don't know how well those ones work. Alright, now to show off the light. Yeah, this fan is definitely one of my favorite fans that I have in the collection. Same with the other stealths that I have, though the black one's definitely my favorite. Alright, now to move it up to speed 6. Yep. And it does have a bit of a wobble, which I'm not surprised since it wobbled on almost all the other speeds for the most part. It's moving a really good amount of air, which is not a surprise because it is a Casablanca. On the higher end ones especially. on the more budget ones that they'd sell, like the Four Seasons 2 or 3 and such, or the next, or the Airflow line that they had. Definitely goes a tiny bit slower than the black one. Not a lot slower, just a very tiny bit. Air movement's almost identical to the black one. Wondering if the white one that I had that's from 2006, if it's just as powerful as this, or if it's a little bit slower. That one also uses an XLP, but it's a later one. It's still a great air mover, but it does move a little bit less air than the black one. A lot of people say that K55 and XLP, they're basically the same air movement. I do notice that the K55 ones that I've tested down here do move a tiny bit more air. I mean, like, how do I say, like, I mean, with this one, I definitely know that the black one moves a little bit more air than this one does. So that's a good example. Those are two. I mean, I've tested the black one, and there's another one that I've yet to reveal using an XLP. So that one definitely did move a little bit less air, just a tiny bit less. I want to say it wobbles about the same as the black one does. Well, with these waves, that is. So the flywheel on this one doesn't really seem to be that really bad. It's just more so that the waves are warped. Alright. I'm gonna shut it off. And do spin down. Yeah, the tank's making the sound now, but I've already stopped this thing so many times. If the thing actually went on, and like the oil tank and such, I would cut the video, but for this time, I'm not even gonna bother at this point. But yeah, it's definitely a really unique fan. And the gloss black blades, I really do feel go really well to finish. But yeah, it's definitely in really good shape though for its age. It's also the most local Casablanca I've ever found too, for the time being. Well, especially on Marketplace. Not the ones I found a bit further out, but it's like the one, or the ones that I've gotten. That is, there have been a few others that have popped up in the city I live in, like one or two other ones, but they were just a Panama or something like that, a white one. Even though I do like Panamas, I'd rather, they were asking them quite a bit for it, and I'd rather save that for something else, like getting something like this, for an example. I have a bad feeling this video is going to be extremely long, and I do apologize for that. But I'm gonna have to try to figure out a way to try to not make the videos too long with the teletouch ones. Same time, there was a lot of cuts I had to make, so that kind of does add to it. Since I'm not seeing how long the whole thing is, and I'm cutting it up in different parts, versus when I film it like a whole take on it, I'm able to like kind of keep track how far into the video it is. Same time, the fan has 6 speeds, so I mean it is kind of going to be doubled compared in terms of like length versus the other videos other fans I've tested down here and such. Yeah, now to go ahead and show it on reverse. There we go. Alright, now to show it with the white. Alright, now for speed 2. Now for speed 3. Oops. Reverse. Oops. Now for speed 4. Now for speed 5. Now for speed 6. Seems to wobble less on reverse, surprisingly. Yeah, it definitely is wobbling a little bit less. Still wobbles, not as much. Alright. And that'll be it for this video. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed and stay tuned for more videos to come.